Welcome back, everybody. Today I want to talk to you guys about something that happened to me fairly recently. Nothing bad or anything, but I have a reason for putting this video out there, and I'll get to that kind of towards the end. First, let me tell you the story. So this day, a couple months or so ago, I was off from work. I don't know if it was a weekend or a holiday. I don't know. I was just off. I was not at work. And I was doing some yard work. So I went outside. I was picking up dog poop and like normal everyday crap, right? Pun not intended. Anyway, and I was, weed eating and stuff like that. So I grabbed my weed eater, got the weeds in my backyard, went out front, started, edging and stuff up front. And because I was home, I was on my own property, I was off. The state that I live in, open carry is legal with, I believe, with or without a concealed carry license. I have a concealed carry license, so that doesn't really affect me either way. But it's legal to do in my state. And it's relatively common. I mean, I've gone into stores with my wife and pointed out, hey, that guy's open carrying and that guy, whatever. So I've seen it multiple times. But because I was at home doing yard work, didn't really want to carry appendix like I normally do because it's less comfortable, especially when you're doing a lot of bending over and stuff like that. So I just put my Glock in an outside the waistband holster on my belt and tucked my shirt in. So I was open carrying my pistol. I go out in my front yard, I start weed eating, doing whatever. And I notice as soon as I walk out that there is a sheriff's deputy car parked in a cul-de-sac kind of off of my street. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting. He just parked there. It was almost like he was looking for people speeding, but no, he was just parked there for a while. I saw him get out, and after a while he talked to a couple people in that cul-de-sac, came over to my side of my street, and went up to my neighbor's door, knocked on the door, and didn't get an answer. So he walks over to me, and of course I'm in the middle of weed eating, so I turn the weed eater off. It's electric, so I just let go of the trigger. I know, don't judge me. I prefer gas, but electric was affordable and easy, and for the small yard that I have, it works just fine. Anyway, he comes over, so I let go of the trigger of the weed eater and put it down, and I didn't know what this was going to be about. It looked like he had been looking at me a few times, just kind of watching him out of the corner of my eye, trying to figure out what was going on. But he comes up and starts talking to me, and the first thing he says is, "Do you know if your neighbors are home?" And I said, honestly, I don't. I've never really interacted with those neighbors. So then he starts chatting with me. He asked, and this is when I found out why he was in the neighborhood. He asked if I had seen anything suspicious happen in that cul-de-sac he was parked in the last day or two. And I told him, no, what specifically are you asking about? He told me, somebody slashed a tire, this and that. And I said, well, I can look at my cameras because I do have a security system and see if maybe I caught something that can help him out or help you out with the case. It was a good interaction. I was actually also wearing my dip holster that I did a review on a while ago. And he actually pointed at that and made a comment. He's like, I like your dip holster or something like that. And I thought he was pointing at the gun because it was right in front of the gun, and I heard holster, and I was like, and then I realized what he was pointing at and what he was laughing about, like not making fun of, but like, that's really cool, that's awesome kind of thing. And that's when I kind of like laughed it off, like, oh yeah, I can't carry this, and pointed at the gun at work, so at least I can carry this and have that. And we laughed about it for a second and whatever, shook hands. He walked away. I went back to weed eating. And it was fine. He never put his hand on his gun. He never seemed uncomfortable or anything like that. Obviously, I kept my hands away from my gun. He walks up, I put the weed eater down, we shake hands, we start talking. We talk about the dip holster, and then, I point at my gun. I knew he knew it was there, but at the same time, that was also kind of like my testing of like, is this what this is about kind of thing. Like, I'm going to point this out, make sure that's not going to enter into the conversation. And the conversation went fine. I grabbed my phone out of my pocket when I told him I could look at my cameras, and started looking at some of the recorded clips from the system, all that. Shook hands, parted ways. Everything was good. I made it clear to him by my body language and my hand placement that I wasn't a threat to him. He never once acted like he was threatened or afraid for his life. It was a really good interaction. And I know that seems kind of anticlimactic, but I want to make this video, and this is the why, because I want to put something out there for you guys. There's some background here. My history with open carry goes back to the time I was like 21 and I got my first real centerfire pistol. I like open carry when it's legal, and yes, that's another conversation because the Second Amendment should make it legal, period, dot, but I digress. I like open carry because it's faster than a concealed carry draw, and yes, you can get pretty fast at a concealed carry draw. I like to think mine is pretty good. But it's faster, it's more easily accessible, and I see it as a deterrent. Now, you get a lot of arguments, and I'm going to make a separate video on open carry versus concealed carry. You get a lot of arguments about deterrence versus element of surprise and all that. We're not getting into that in this video. I'm just telling you I like it. But it does come with some challenges. You know, some people can be made uncomfortable by it. Some law enforcement, depending on their training and their knowledge of the laws in your state and your area, can get a little squirrely or look at you like you're a criminal waiting for a crime to commit kind of thing. It just depends on where you are and what that area is like. Here, like I said, it's legal. I've seen lots of people do it out in public at Best Buy and Home Depot and stuff like that. So it's not a big deal around here. But at the same time, when he walked up, I was a little nervous. I mean, I was open carrying a pistol. Yes, I was on my own property, and I have every right to own that gun. I am not a prohibited person, any of that stuff. But I was still a little nervous. So that kind of got me thinking and mulling over something in my brain, that even though it's legal to do, I mean, it's not even just legal in my state. I was on my own property. And even in California, the law says you can absolutely carry a pistol on your person on your own property. Even in California, like, that says something. But I was still a little nervous because I didn't know where this interaction was going to go. But I kept my cool, and like I said, everything went fine. You know, just be nice, be professional, be polite, you know, and just talk to the guy like he's a guy. Because guess what? He's a guy. He's a sheriff's deputy. He has a badge and a gun and a uniform, but he's a guy. He's there to do a job, to serve the community, and at that particular moment, apprehend and gain evidence to convict a person who destroyed somebody else's property. So as long as you know your laws, and I'm not giving legal advice in this video, okay? Open carry may not be legal where you are. I don't agree with that, but it may not be. This is not legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. But if you have trepidation about concealed carry or open carry because you've never done it before and you're nervous, just understand that people do it every day. I concealed carry almost every day. There, you know, like I said before in other videos, I can't carry where I work. So if I go straight from work to home, I'm going to put a gun on when I get home, but you know, I may not go anywhere once I get home. I'm still carrying a gun on my property, but that's different. Anytime I go out anywhere than where I'm allowed to, I carry a gun. It's something you just kind of have to get used to. So that's the first message in this video: is it's your right, if it's legal for you to do, and you've gone through whatever wickets your state requires, then yes, feel free, feel comfortable to carry a gun, as long as you have both the firearms handling training and the verbal de-escalation training and the interacting with cops training and all the things that go along with carrying a gun. The other side of this that I think is even more important, the other point I wanted to make is, like I said, this guy was a cop and he was open carrying a gun. I was open carrying a gun. But the interaction went fine. There was never any, you know, standoffish moment. There was never any, you know, him drawing his gun so that I would put mine down. It was just as if we were two guys, you know, hanging out talking about what we do to take care of our lawns. Like, that's how that conversation went. And I believe that the vast majority of police officers out there are good people. Yes, there are bad eggs. I've seen the video of the guy handcuffed on the sidewalk, sitting there, and him and the cops are talking, and all of a sudden the cop kicks him in the head because I guess he said something the cop didn't like. I don't know the story. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen that video, but yeah, there are bad cops out there. There are bad military members out there. There are bad doctors and lawyers and baseball players and, I don't know, clowns and ice cream truck drivers. Like, you're not going to completely eliminate the bad in any given profession. But all the cops that I've met, I mean, I've met a lot of cops, have a lot of cop friends, and, they're good people. They are just there to do their job and to do what they think is the best way that they can give back to their community or their country in some case, like a federal law enforcement officer. So when you interact with them, take that into account, that they're real people, they're normal, they have families, they have friends, they have a life outside of that badge and that gun. And if you treat them with respect and you're, just talking to them normally, sure, depending on what the situation is, like if you just pointed a gun at somebody, yeah, they may not talk to you like you're, just another guy shooting the shit. But, in general, if you're approached by a law enforcement officer and you have a gun on you, and I've talked about how I handle that sort of thing in my traffic stop video before, but just be polite and respect them. You don't have to go out of your way to be submissive or to treat them like they're some Greek god or something, but just be a normal person. So that's all I've got for this video, guys. I know it was a little bit rambly, but I had a couple of points that I wanted to try to make, and hopefully I made them. Just in summary, carrying a gun is your right, state and law dependent on how you have to get the paperwork or a license or whatever to do that. That's a different discussion, but it's your right, and you shouldn't let your personal fears or anxiety get in the way of that if that's something you feel that you should do for your safety, your family's safety, etc., etc. The other point is, most cops are good people, and they're going to treat you with respect and dignity. And it is absolutely possible to be carrying a loaded handgun, whether the officer can see it or not, and then they find out about it, and then you still have a very pleasant conversation that doesn't escalate to you getting arrested or shot. A lot of people haven't had interactions with cops where they were carrying a gun. And since my big focus for the channel is trying to put that information out there, gun-related information for newer people to the community, I figured this would be a video worth making. So just keep that in mind, if and when you do decide to start carrying, or if you already carry as you go throughout your day. It's something to think about and prepare for before it happens. If you have law enforcement friends, ask them, or hell, just go down to the local police department or sheriff's department and ask them, hey, if I were going to carry a gun legally and I were to get pulled over or have interaction with a cop, how should I best handle that? And not only will they tell you, but I think they'll really appreciate that you are taking the time to learn and to train yourself to lawfully and responsibly carry a firearm, and how to best interact with their officers who put their lives on the line every day in order to make the best outcome for everybody. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you learned something from this video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. If you feel that there are other people in your life who are kind of on the edge of wanting to get a gun and start carrying it, or who do carry a gun every day, and you think they could benefit from this video, please share the video with them. It absolutely helps the channel out. I am still trying to grow the channel, and because I want to be able to reach more people, I want to have a larger audience. to be able to get this content out there to help people out based on my personal experiences. So, but thanks again, guys. I really appreciate it. Y'all take it easy, roll tide, and I'll see you later.